This is Music in My Ears TV. I am Joseph Asipo, welcoming you to this new episode of Afrofarm Music Era in Nigeria. We are talking about the history of music in Nigeria, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this new episode, which we will present one other big group that reigned supreme in the 70s. 70s was the period that Afro-funk music reigned over the whole of Nigeria. We had bands that were so popular, and they came up from just the post-war Nigeria, talking about the the Nigerian Civil War that pitted the Biafran area against the federal government. And, the military kind of tried to encourage people by putting out some bands to entertain people and to entertain the soldiers. So, Founders15 is the band that we are going to present to you today. They were no different from other bands of that era. They were actually part of the military affiliations that other bands had over that period, especially the post-war period, trying to reconcile the country together, trying to bring people out of where they have run to, where they have gone to hide from the war. So Founders 15 was one of those kind of bands we are talking about. So right now, today is the day for Founders 15. Like you said already, Founders 15 was one of the bands of the Afro-funk psychedelic rock era of the 70s. And if you see their name, you have that 15 in the name. The 15 is kind of linked to the 15th Brigade of the Marine Commando of the Nigerian Army that occupied the southeastern part of the country. So Founders 15 um, were quite successful in their bid, and a very hip group for that matter. And they formed in the early 70s and comprises of the following. You had Emeka Peters, the lead vocalist and percussionist. You had Marshall Odoru, the bass guitarist. You had Sonny Enang, the synth guy, the keyboard guy. You had Ken Adrika. You had Joshua Ike, the saxophonist. You have Ife Akpata or Samuel Ife Akpata on drums, and you have George on conga. The group also had one very popular name that we'll need to look at later, and that's Lasbury Semicolon, or Lasbury Colon, that later formed the Semicolon band, but it didn't feature much in their um, recordings, but he is associated with the band as well. So that is Fathers 15 members for you. So the group released their first album on EMI record in 1976. The album was self-titled Founders 15. And the production, once again, the production had Paul Agalonu. He's been seen in several of the Afro-funk and psychedelic rock bands of that era as the producer. And they also had some other co-producers, which we'll come to later. So this album had several songs, including Finger Phone. I don't know what that means. You had Come Back to Me. You had Reminiscence. You had Righteous Man. So these are some of the songs that made that album tick. And in that album, the Fingers, you had a lot of saxophone play by Joshua Ike. And it seems they are one of the bands that I noticed amongst other bands that introduced horn into their music. And that made some kind of difference between their own music and other bands' music. But before we continue, please kindly subscribe to our channel, like our pages. We are also on musicinmyears.com. That is our webpage. We are also on Spotify, the podcast. This is the YouTube channel, Music in My Ears TV. We are also on Pinterest and several other platforms. So do well to subscribe or click the link, like, comment, whether it's good or bad, we will accept it in good faith. It's only for a way for us to improve. So let's continue. So after the 1976 album, in 1977, the group came out with a follow-up album, also on EMI Records. This time around, they titled their album Cooperation. Cooperation had songs like Long Time Girl, God of My Heart, Cooperation, the title track, Walk to Success, and several other tracks. So, but before then, we said that the group started out in their first album in 1976. I want to bring to you the fact that before 1976, Founders 15 had a very popular single they released way back in 1974. Everybody seems to know that song. Personally, that's the song I could identify the group with, and that is Be My Girl. Be My Girl was released as a single in 1974. It's one of the biggest tracks of the Afro funk era. Very common. A lot of people know it. I'm not talking of the youngsters of these days. I'm talking of people that were youngsters in the 70s, you know. So Be My Girl is a popular song and it's still, I must say, it's still enjoying some form of airplay till now. So after 1977, the group had another album still on EMI record, and this time around, Firewoman. Firewoman had this title track, Firewoman, The Truth Shall Come, True Light, Slimming Boogie, and several other songs, and they introduced another member to the group, Laide Tasoso, and, I mentioned that they had another producer in the name of C.N. Wanga. This guy seems to have produced most of their albums, the subsequent albums, after the first one that Paul Akalonu was part of. So CN Waga was the guy that handled most of their production furthermore. And this particular album, Fire Woman, had been reissued the main release was in 1977, but there has been a reissue in 2017 on Come and Razor Sound. If you know music history writing, you know one of the names, one of the people that made music writing popular in Nigeria. And as a matter of fact, an inspiration to someone like me is Comb and Razor. So they did a reissue for the US market in 2017. Then in 1978, the group had one other album, but this time around, it came on the global level, on Global Sound label, I mean to say. Global Sound is Ben Okonkwo's music label. He also managed the group, and the title of the album was Practical Lover, released in 1978. So that is the music in terms of the Founders 15. What we're going to do is right under the description of this video, we are going to post the playlist of Founders 15, trying to put together some of the songs and videos of the band, you know, for your enjoyment. And we're doing that, thank God YouTube has allowed us to put together playlists now. So we just compile the playlist and attach on the description. So do well to click on the link on the playlist that you find right on the description of this video. So you may ask, what has happened to the members of Under 15? Or what happened? You know that some of them, as usual, that period of the 70s, the transition to pop music in the 80s made most of the groups to disband and move on to other things. Some became solo artists. Someone like Sonny Nang became a solo artist I think he had about two albums to his name. And also Ike Peters became Ike Peters, came out with his own album. And along the line, he discovered that some of the band members were also part of other production and also supported the guys that were able to go solo. So that is how the group went. So in the by this after 78, the group no longer existed, but members transited to solo artists and other endeavors. So that is it for Founders 15. Until we come again with another band, please enjoy. Once again, click on the link to the playlist. Have fun until next episode. Thank you.